Man, this guy, he's getting smoked by the internet. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Damn, it's been like a week or less than that. I think like it's not as long. It's the last time I made a video. I think it was either Thursday afternoon or Friday, I believe. I think it was Friday actually. How's it going, everybody? You lovable, unmonetized, unaffiliated, but trustworthy news reporter, Azure News. And I'm here to report yet again from, my, whatever. Anyways, so a follow-up video on the man. But before we get into that, let's just do a little bit of shout-outs. I want to give a shout-out to, like, Tetsuka, the Ukrainian forces, for, like, purposely ethnically cleansing out your own population to go fight in a war. And I saw the statistics of the people defecting from the front lines. It's something like 163,000. And hey, again, I don't blame them, but like think about that. That kind of like vacuum in a war basically means that the Chechens were necessary. Like all the foreign fighters that came into the theater of war were necessary because the people from the Ukrainian side were defecting. The Russians are paying off their soldiers. They're paying them, I don't know how many, like, rubles, something like close to, like, basically, like, just over minimum wage. I could be wrong about that, per soldier, right? Plus all these, like, benefits for being in the Russian Federation, this and that, right? Like, I don't know, property rights or something like that. Like, to sugar you up for the deal, like, go out there and get killed. And I bring this up because, so I saw this video by the guy, videos from Mariupol. Actually, let me check what his exact name is, right? And I'm watching this next one about the tyranny of, like, Germany, and how, like, you can't post, and then they go after you, you know? Oh shit. And Akaash is getting more roasted. Okay, so let me just like get back to this guy. I think his name is videos from Mariupol or something like that. Yeah, videos from Mariupol. So it's like Maria, except instead of an A, it's a U, and then Pol. So it's videos from Mariupol. Alright, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Well, anyways, so I just made an observation on like how they're just like conscripting these like young men to go fight in this war, and it's so brazen that they even went after Angelina Jolie's driver, and she didn't even report on it. Like it's on video. Like they're like cornering him or something like that. And I don't know if it gets violent and like it just cuts off. But I like I'd rather believe this guy than disbelieve him, because think about it, like how many people have been sent over there to go fight and die, and you're just told the whole time the Russians are the bad guys. Well, did the Russians, like, I want to see the videos of them doing that to their own people. I'm not gonna doubt that that happens to an extent, but it's just like I just don't see it. I just don't see it. And maybe some like Russians could like confirm or deny or whatever, because we have clear video evidence of the Ukrainians just like shipping their own people off to like war like it's nothing, like it's just like another Saturday morning cartoon villain type shit. And like the fact that like when you think about the manpower that's involved in this, like if you need to take like eight fighting aged able-bodied men to kidnap like this one teenager, young 20-year-old looking guy, like this isn't a war about like winning. This is a war about ethnically cleansing. Like there is a problem going on in Ukraine, and people just don't want to address it. Like the place is being ethnically cleansed of all the Russian whatever. And it's kind of crazy because I thought it would like tone down from like fall or something. I don't know what the trigger for that was. I think it was just like, Trump and his war against like, Venezuela. So like maybe, like Russia's gonna want to like protect its asset overseas. So I thought that like maybe that would be like the stopping point and like a refocusing of like, the war efforts from the Kremlin. But no, it's just it's just like, business as usual. All quiet on the Eastern Front. All right. And then this next video about like, Germany. Yeah, you can't post stuff online. The tyrannical nature of it all. Like the European Union, like isn't exactly a freedom and a paradise and like, whatever. I'm not saying like the Russian Federation's any better. I'm just saying that like this idea that like you're gonna give up your national pride and sovereignty to a bunch of people you've never elected before, and then like they're gonna dictate your immigration status. They're gonna immigrate I mean, not immigrate. They're gonna dictate, how many immigrants are let into your country. How your country trades with other countries, this and that. Like, regulating, carbon emissions, this and that. Like, right, like how many countries have slapped carbon emissions on China, right? And now China's coming out with its own version of like, electric cars and shit. So when you really think about it, right? Like if you're just gonna hamstring countries, or hamstring, is that the word? Hinder, handicap countries to basically have advanced technology without the money, right? So you want everybody to modernize, right? But like they have to eventually, like they have to drive gasoline power cars before they get to the electrical stage. And I doubt that North America is going to give up its gas power cars, at least in my lifetime. And there's one significant reason for it is because like the invention of cars happened in America. So it's more or less like, their pride and joy to just keep it, an ongoing thing, gasoline to the day they die. And then Trump's like, drill baby drill. So here we are. Like, I'm bringing that up because you see the tyranny, right? Like, Germany is willing to persecute its own people while simultaneously like accepting aid from Russia, which is, at war with Ukraine, and then paying Russia, which is paying, for its weapons, financing for the death of Ukrainians, while simultaneously giving, money to both. Like, it's very much a Hideo Kojima plot of a PMC, basically, except it literally is funding both sides, and everybody knows about it. And we all used to joke about like America being like that to an extent, but like actually seeing it play out with Germany, it's messed up because you hear how they treat their own citizens, and you're just like, wait, what? Like this is a country you want to live in. Like this is a country that you want to abandon. You want to either usurp the government and like reestablish proper order, protect your borders, you know, protect your people. But again, like everybody's beginning to wake up to this idea that like the people who want unlimited immigration, on unlimited everything into their countries, they have a sadistic desire inside of them that they want to have not only an endless supply of basically disposable workforce, right? Because they're the ones, who have to do the heavy lifting, at least initially, until like, another generation or whatever takes their place and stuff. So that's the way they see it. And plus they all vote the same way. So yeah, it's a zero sum game for us. And net negative for them. But as long as we lose, they think in their heads that they win. And now back to the topic of this video because it's like, am I honestly really gonna spend what is it? Goddamn, 25 minutes talking about Akaash again. But I have to. I have to. You wanna know why I have to? Because this dumbass went out and started having like a hissy fit on the podcast. And like I briefly went over it, I think in my last video, but the reason why I'm gonna touch on it now is because like I did understand the subtext. Like I think he's like I guess sneaked in like this idea that he was uncomfortable about like all the stuff that's coming out and like all the stuff that's being said about him. And yes, I might be misquoting it, but I think it's just like, his friend was a little too open about it and maybe too like he didn't have the best choice of words in Akash's opinion about his wife or some shit like that. And like I I want to make this video not only like clarifying my stance on this, but also there was something that I didn't watch or didn't like realize. Okay, so everybody's clowning Akash for this girl, always cucking him and this and that. But what I didn't watch, at least from the very beginning, is how insincere Akash is. Okay, so take it from her point of view for a second. Okay, I understand what she did was wrong, and like everyone's like pissed at what she is and like what she does, and like they don't want a girl like that, and they're probably looking at their girl with like shifty eyes and shit. You know what I mean? Like, but like think of it like this: every single junction that this man has been with you, he's like filming it. Like, yo, shut the fuck up, right? Like, the first time you guys get proposed, you're getting married. Okay, that's cute and everything, but then you're gonna renew your vows, right? 4 years later, and then I don't know, is it his family, her family? And like at this point, it doesn't really matter to me because he's going like, okay, so he brings them to this vacation, right? He's paying for it, blah blah blah, and then he's like semi proposing to her. He doesn't get down on one of his knees, right? He's filming it yet again. Yet again, he's filming it, right? And then before he goes in for the kiss, or the kiss close, he's not a Giga Chad. He didn't get the kiss close, right? Before he went in for the kiss close, he said a big enough ring for you to shut up, or some shit like that. And it's just like, yeah, you're a comedian. That's funny. You have a character that you play up for your stand-up shows and shit like that. But like, think about how insincere he is. Not just like with getting married on film the first time with this girl, but also like because it is on film, and the exact same thing happened. She also turned away and did not kiss him. And like, you could argue that like, oh, she's just been around, that she knows better, or this and that, and she was always gonna dump him. But it's like, yeah, but like that to sacrifice over 5 years of your life means that you probably thought to yourself that you thought something was gonna change. You know what I mean? You thought to yourself that maybe something that like was gonna get better because like if those wedding vows whatever was like 4 years ago and then like that's time from then till now, I don't know what like exactly how much time. I'm not saying she's like 100% committed, but she's not running away from you. And like people are going to point to the whole idea of her being a gold digger, and yes, that is very likely the case. But here's also like the thing, right? Like, I think the whole thing was that by making this a whole media circus, by making this a whole like like some of the most like what should be a private moment for most people, right, was just like very much publicized. And like going back to the whole song, fuck, what movie is that from? Is it Ferris Bueller or some shit like that? I fuck, I don't know. I don't think it's Ferris Bueller. It's just like some movie, and it just like has that thing. It's like you're wondering how I got into this, man. It's just like shut the fuck up, dude. Like, yeah, people seen that movie, this and that, and you're like older than me, so you probably seen it a little bit long, more times than I have. You cliche jackass. But it's like, yo, take a step back for 2 seconds and just look at yourself and what you're doing and how you look in the mirror. How do you look like, Akash? You're on the beach. Okay, how do you look when you take off your shirt? And I'm not trying to like gay out for you and shit, but I'm just trying to say like, don't you think that there's a reason why she speaks to you like this and like whatever? Because it's like you have this cynical asshole like behavior when you're never home and you're like, oh, I'm at my comedy shows, I'm always busy, I'm gonna buy you stuff, buy. Like that's enough to keep a woman, man. And like, let's be honest, the reason why she feels so emboldened with punking you is because you feel the same way about her, and you don't see it that way. Like you don't think about um, filming a girl who hasn't decided whether or not she wants to marry you, and then putting her on the spot like that, and then I'm not saying forced to marry you. Maybe she wanted to, right? I can't speak for her, but at the same time, it's like, what happens if she says no on camera? Oh, poor Akash, poor you, right? Fuck. And everyone's like, basically cock riding for this guy, and I get it. It sucks. We've met girls like that before. Like I made a video talking about that shit. But I was like, yo, when I think about that, I was like 22, and she was like 18, going 19. Like what the fuck, man? Like we're like nothing. We're like, I'm not saying kids. It's just like, like I can't put it by me, and I'm just gonna blame some arbitrary thing on something that happened in the past versus these two people with a huge gap. Let's be sure. Like they have less in common than like what I mean. Like a house plant and a dog. They just find each other sexy, so the dog goes over and pisses on the fucking house plant, and Akash is like, "Don't spend all my money," as he gets pissed on and shit. Well, fuck. Here I go again with my making fun of Akash ways. But I can't help myself, man. He got smoked. He really did. And like, as much as I want to blame Jasleen for all the stupid shit that she's saying, I'm like, you have to think about why she's saying it and why she continuously fuck. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Fucking dry in my mouth is open. Ugh. It felt like I had like this gigantic plug in my mouth, like in the Matrix, and I'm just like talking through it the whole time, and just pull it out. I'm like, oh, kind of like Akash's marriage, except through his dick hole. Oh snap! Oh snap! What do you think this? It was called the Akash Eulogy, man. And like his friends, his posse, they can't help him. They can't protect him from what he's become. The super family-friendly, nice guy that inevitably wasn't actually really all that nice when you really think about it. I mean, there's gonna be people out there for the longest time. And like, I have to bring this up too. I'm gonna be called like such a fucking asshole for bringing this shit up, but I can't help it. I can't help it. Okay, did you did you know that like she's kicking up this jazz thing is kicking up such a storm? She got her fellow sister, the sisters of the traveling sorry. And they're all like repping for her cause. They're like, yo, you guys are all incels. You don't know what a real woman is. You know what I show you. And they're making the problem so much worse. And I love them for that because it's like, yeah, you go, girl, for real. I like that one. Traveling Sisterhood of the Sorry or something. I haven't seen that other movie. I don't want to. I think if I see that movie, I'm gonna lose my penis. It's just gonna fall off. It's like, all right, I'm out. No, it's such a good movie. It's so insightful. Hey, shut the fuck up. Did anybody die in it? What kind of guns do they use? Nah, I'm not into the whole guns thing. Like even though like I acknowledge that like most movies with like action movies like they have guns in them, and even though I'm showing you Gunlance gameplay, like I could see how cliched and played out, guns can get. I guess maybe I've lived too long and just seen all the gun movies, and like John Wick basically did it for me. Like I was just like, all right, if I'm just gonna watch this movie, I'm good for like gun movies for the rest of my life. Just just the John Wick series, and I missed Ballerina, which sucks. This is also part of the John Wick, continuum, so should get, caught up on that. But yeah, back on topic, right? The eulogy of the Akaash, right? Like, and I think like in a way, like I think like a lot of guys are like this, myself included, and the whole oblivious nature of like how you don't see your own faults is, um, I guess the fault of our ego, because I think our ego is preventing us from seeing it. And maybe I'm just being like, I'm just pulling these like, terms out of my ass and be like, oh, it's the ego, it's the id, it's the soul. I'm just saying, like, yo, it's an ego that a man has, right? At least the way I see it, and he used that to constantly get what he wanted out of her, whether it was, a yes to the proposal, or this housewife person, right? Like imagine you're like, what was it, 4 years ago? Fucking or whatever, 20 something, and then you're getting married to a guy who's like 30 plus. He doesn't really work out. He has like chicken legs. He looks like a fucking drug addict. He smokes weed with his homies. Like it's fucking high school. He even dresses like it's a. Filio was like fucking dissing him too. Like that's just... imagine you're getting fucking clowned by a guy who's like half your. Wait, is he? I'm 40. No, I think Filion is like 25 plus. And then like if Akaash is older than me by 1 year, so yeah, that's like I don't know, 10, 12 years, I guess, right? So like like imagine getting clowned by a guy and he's more successful than you, and he's like his success was organic. Like he worked out at the gym. He went to school or whatever, college, right? As he says, he has his own like production team, I guess, and then he's just like laughing at you, man. Just like you can't dress, like you're just being told off by basically. Okay, like I'm not saying he's a kid, like a young man, right? But it's like you have all this money and you don't know how to dress, you don't know better. And then again, like sometimes these guys, these Americans, they throw out these words and these terms of like these super fancy designer clothes. Like, what the fuck is that? That I have no idea. But yeah, like you don't want to be taking, and no offense to Philion, by the way, you don't want to be taking insults and like taking slights from a guy over your fashion sense who's like 10 years plus younger than you, and like you have nothing to show for it other than like, oh, I have lots of money, oh, I got married at a young age, oh, I'm Indian. And I think like the whole Indian idea is just like idealistic. Like there is no one size fits all Hindu or one size fits all Indian type thing. Like this idea that every single person in India thinks and feels the same way, and like whatever, like from the down to the language, to the background, it's a varying degree of difference, right? I'm gonna come out with my Jaskarn Jaj video, and you'll know the difference, man. You'll know the difference. You'll feel it. You'll taste it. It's like I think he calls himself Jackie after Michael Jackson, because he's like, like that. I think Akash and Jaskarn have that in common. It's just like they're Peter Panning it up, except like one guy does stand up comedian. He's a stand up comedian, The other guy is like literally the Joker. If only the Joker just like went after kids exclusively. The Joker that just went after kids. What would you call that? The Diddler? Oh, that's Puff Daddy's name. Fuck. Oh, well, anyways, thanks for watching a long ass 25-minute video. Alright, take care, Akaash. RIP, Akaash ATM.